Septic tank maintenance. I know that you guys are very interested in living off-grid, and septic tank maintenance would probably be one of the things that most people are kind of afraid of or scared of. Since I've had a septic tank and had a farm that's off-grid, I have cleaned this out professionally twice. Once when we moved in, and then once maybe a couple months later, because we were not used to using a septic tank. And so coming from North America, where you are on the grid or have an infrastructure, basically you flush things down the toilet and you don't think about where it's going, right? So all of a sudden in a septic tank, you see it filling up and you're like, uh-oh, does it overflow? Like, where does everything go? And so off the top, you should know that not all septic tanks are created equal. This septic tank is 2,000 liters. You can get giant septic tanks, and you'd have to look up what a 1,000 liter versus 2,000 versus 3,000. You have to look up the difference in sizes and see what would suit your family and the size of your family. If you look up how often people clean septic tanks, it seems to be, people go every 3 years, every 5 years. So when you hear me saying that I cleaned mine twice in the first year of having an off-grid farm, you might realize, oh, that's a little crazy, Adam. And yes, it is a little crazy. Welcome to my life. So anyway, I wound up buying some enzyme, and I learned about enzyme when I was working as a technician around the GTA, Burlington, Toronto, Niagara area. This comes in powder form. There's none left in it because I just put the last in a little while ago. But basically they say add a little satchel of powder you can put it in the toilet directly or come over here and put it directly in there. And that little bit of powder can sometimes have a mint flavor or mint scent. Don't eat it. And it's organic bacteria that will digest and make bubbles, and it'll digest the solid poop. Now, this is something that vegans don't really have to worry about. And so why are you adding this once a month is the question, right? Let me get some gloves on. We're here February 23rd, 2025. And I know this is what you want to see. You want to see Adam stirring the poop. As I was saying, we're vegans, so we don't have the solid poop meat eater problems that meat eaters have. The meat eaters have to incorporate fiber into their diet, right? But our diet is mainly fiber. Mainly fiber and carbs as a vegan who eats a varied diet. There are vegans who don't eat very healthy. I am not one of them. So being from North America, now having an off-grid farm here in Portugal, and having parents from Pakistan, I eat a lot of different types of food, needless to say. So once a month, as a family of 4 who are using the septic tank, I like to stir this up, and you just get a tube, get in here, and if there's any solids, you just keep stirring until it's liquid, which is really easy for vegans. So when I've watched the guys clean it out twice, which is not a fun job, but what the guys do is they get a giant truck with like a wet dry vacuum, and they put the tube in the bottom, and if it's not already liquid in there, they have to spray water, and they make it into a slurry, and they suck it out, they rinse it once, and they're cleaning out your septic tank for you. So if you can fast track it or do half the work by stirring it like this once a month and keeping it liquid, then it never has a chance to get totally solid. Now, sometimes, I think in some cases, people make holes in their septic tank in the bottom. Mine is plastic. So if you were to stab a hole down through the bottom, whatever fluid, which is mostly water from your toilet, right? Whatever fluid, which would be water and pee, whatever whatever fluid would be in there would sink through the holes, and you'd always just have dry remnants on the top, dry feces and whatnot, which would be really hard to stir. So in my case, there's no holes in it. We didn't add any holes, and so I can put a little water on top and rinse it off. This is gray water. Hey, here's a good use for gray water. So after rinsing with gray water, you can see my septic tank is full up to the vent line, which is normal. So in a situation where this was overflowing, which would be really hard, it would go down this vent, and the vent pipe comes over here. And so if the septic tank was ever overflowing, which I don't think it could possibly do, not in this lifetime, the liquid would come out the vent, and I've just covered the vent here with a flower pot. There's the vent. So it's shallow, but you get the idea. And it's good to have a ventilation. Some people you could put a sock or nylon over the vent, and then like lavender or something in there to make it smell better. Because we're vegan, like, I'm not saying our poop doesn't stink, but it does not smell like McDonald's around here. Like, we have guests and whatnot, and we give tours of our farm, and I've never had any complaints that it smells really bad. But I understand that poop can smell bad, but in general, as vegans, it doesn't. So basically what happens as it gets full is that there are points where there are connections underground where the overflow fluid is seeping out into the ground, which is why you need to, when you remove a septic tank, depending on where you're at, you might need to do soil remediation around a septic tank to make it up to code. But if you're wondering why it doesn't overflow ever, that's why, because it's leaking probably and seeping underground slowly, the liquid part of it. And then basically you keep on doing exactly what I'm doing once a month. The water level basically will stay the same in this tank. And then when the guys come to clean it out, maybe next year, I'll call them, they will stir it up and suck it all out, and they'll rinse it like I just did. And Bob's your uncle. That's it. You're done with your septic tank maintenance. So I'm going to put the lid back on, and that's it for my monthly septic tank maintenance. And it's something to get used to for sure. It's not for everyone, I would say, but it's not hard. And the lid goes on pretty easy. Let's go over here and put that lid on. There are worse days to do it and better days to do it. You don't want to be out here in the rain, that's for sure. And on a super hot day, you would want to plan, you would do it not in the heat of the sun. And I recommend to get some gloves and then wash the gloves when you're done, or throw them away. Keep them separate. Keep your lid area clean. There's no way I could be doing this and hovering this close if it stank so bad, so don't feel so bad for me. I can't even smell anything. And I do have a good sense of smell. So that's it. That's the septic tank. Again, you want to keep the lid free and clear. You want to keep the vent free and clear. Some people let it overgrow, and then when the guys come to clean their septic tank, they got to find it and locate it first. So when we first had our septic tank cleaned out, that was exactly what our issue is, that I've never had a septic tank. So we're like asking the guys to help us locate all the parts of it. And so something to keep in mind. So basically, again, our toilet has a main line that goes directly to that. The only thing that is connected to that tank is one single toilet. Over here is a completely different system. They are not connected. And I have my sinks and shower connected to that drainage pipe. When this overflows, obviously, it goes into that drainage pipe. And that drainage pipe goes over here, downhill, under all this soil that I'm walking on, and it spits out right where these rocks are, which is why I have some gray water standing right here. And why I've been building trenches to funnel it into our trellis area where we have some plants. And I have a long-term plan to make a mini borehole right here and collect filtered gray water for, again, access to watering plants. But you see all the standing water? Basically, that's gray water that's been filtered through the soil. So I'm not saying that you could drink that, but you could distill it and drink it for sure. And if I had some plants that require a lot of moisture, like bananas or like an avocado or two, I could plant them right here, which that is my plan. Because as long as somebody's showering or using the taps there and not collecting the gray water from that reservoir, then you can use all this area because it'll be watered nicely. And I have been collecting gray water from that reservoir, but now that we're getting into the hotter months, I'll have all this that I stored up, plus 1,000 liters here of river water and rainwater. So that's Septic Tank Maintenance 101. I know that a lot of you guys are dying to see it. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. It is something to get used to as a guy if you've never had a septic tank, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Think about all the people in the world that use septic tanks and they figure it out. I think if you're nervous about it, then the best thing to do is when you get a septic tank, to have it cleaned out professionally and just watch the guys. And then from then onwards, look up the local recommendations for cleaning out a septic tank and then work on the maintenance as I showed in the video here. And if you're installing a septic tank, then you should follow the local guidelines. It's a whole different animal. And now you know why there might be some leaching and whatnot underground. So thanks for watching my septic tank video. It really means a lot to me that you give a crap. Are you tired of reincarnating? Me too! Now show the world that you don't want to reincarnate with this Do Not Reincarnate t-shirt!